Amazon just joined the AI race, and they're building their own AI platforms, own AI cloud computing services, and they're trying to take big market share from a lot of the big players and partnering with some of the best people in this space. So you can see here that Amazon is throwing its hat into the generative AI ring, but rather than build AI models entirely by itself, it's recruiting third parties to host models on AWS. So AWS today unveiled Amazon Bedrock, which provides a way to build generative AI-powered apps via pre-trained models from startups including AI21 Labs, Anthropic, and Stability AI. So you can kind of see that they're trying to take the stance of partnering with the best in AI instead of, making their own and things like that, which works with AWS. So if you guys don't know, AWS is obviously cloud computing and all the things going on the back end of softwares, so they can kind of do the computing power and big server rooms and things like that.
In short, AWS sells the tools, the platform for the people to do this stuff, while you have to go after the opportunities yourself. But AWS does what Amazon does. They sell the infrastructure and the tools.
Now they're going to apply machine learning to the real world. Solving real business problems at scale is what we do best, says Vasi Philomin, VP of Generative AI at AWS. And they are basically talking to TechCrunch on a phone interview here, and we're going to read all the quotes here. So we think every application out there can be reimagined with generative AI. And that's kind of beautiful, because that's what you want to see. And that's what a lot of people think as well. Like, everything is just going to be, oh, you have an app? Well, in a couple of months now, it's going to be presumed that all the apps work like magic. So last November, Stability AI selected AWS as its preferred cloud provider. And in March, Hugging Face and AWS collaborated to bring the former's text generating models onto the AWS platform. And Hugging Face is one of the biggest people or companies in AI right now, and that they're partnering with AWS, that's huge. You also have Bedrock custom models. So Bedrock is Amazon's most forceful play yet for the generative AI market, which could be worth close to 110 billion by 2030, according to estimates from the Grand View Research. With Bedrock, AWS customers can opt to tap into AI models from a variety of different providers, including AWS, via an API. So they're really just playing to their strength here. Everybody knows AWS is a big player. Also, when you talk about the rival, Google Cloud and Azure from Microsoft here, they're trying to just, steal the things that they do really well and, take market share from them as well, which Amazon is really good at.
I was going to say, yeah, Amazon does that best. If there's a road to take, it's obviously easier to take that road than to find the path yourself. So Amazon just builds up the infrastructure, they front the bill, and then they hope that you eventually utilize that infrastructure that they built, just because it's ease of use for you. Saves you time, saves you money.
Exactly. And Amazon is such a good company, in my opinion, as well. They really do the things that they do really well at a very high level, so that they can take a big portion of this market. I definitely believe they can, and it's going to be interesting to see. One presumes that generative AI model vendors were incentivized by AWS reach or potential revenue sharing to join Bedrock. So you can see here the third-party models hosted on Bedrock include AI21 Labs, Jurassic 2 family, which are multilingual and can generate text in Spanish, French, German, Portuguese, Italian, and Dutch. Claude's Anthropic model on Bedrock that can perform a range of conversational and text processing tasks So it's like ChatGPT, but it's just not as good, in my opinion. Meanwhile, Stability AI's suite of text-to-image Bedrock-hosted models include Stable Diffusion that can generate images, art, logos, and graphic designs. So Stable Diffusion is really, really good, and that is hosted on AWS is really great. Here you can see Amazon Bedrock being in the top here, with Amazon's CodeWhisperer that we're going to talk about in a minute, Amazon EC2 TRN1N, and Amazon EC2 ENF. Do people really?
No.
Do people really use these things?
They would use the lingo, so like Amazon EC2 Turn 1N and EC2 Infinity 2. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I would say infinity on this one. Inf. Hey, bro, you used the EC2 Inf today?
EC2 Turn In, or did you EC2 Infinity?
The Infinity is so good.
Inf 2.
So you can see here that as for Amazon's bespoke offering, the Titan, I'm not going to say the bespoke offering. Who says things like that?
Whoever wrote this fucking article.
Yeah, what the hell? You had a phone conversation and you used large language.
Who wrote this? ChatGPT? Bespoketh? Hear ye, hear ye. The Titan FM family.
Write this as Shakespeare, but just more modern. As for Amazon's offerings, the Titan FM family comprises of 2 models at present, with presumably more to come in the future, and the 2 are text generating model and embedding model. So that's what they're working on themselves. So that's basically, the first text is OpenAI's GPT-4, right? But they say it's not necessarily on par performance-wise, which we've seen with Google as well, with the Bard, which is not as good. Then you have the embedding models that translates text inputs like words and phrases into numerical representations known as embeddings. So you can see that AWS customers can customize any Bedrock model by pointing the service at a few labeled examples in a Amazon S3, Amazon's cloud storage plan. As few as 20 is enough. At the AWS, we played a key role in democratizing machine learning and making it accessible to anyone who wants to use it. Amazon's Bedrock is the easiest way to build and scale generative AI applications with foundation models. And that's what they do, right? They have just basic things, but they do the basic thing really well, and it works. And it's usually pretty cheap as well. But here is what is a little bit different. Obviously, there are several lawsuits over generative AI tech from companies including OpenAI and Stability AI, brought by plaintiffs who allege that they are using copyrighted data, right? And mostly art, which was used without permission to train generative models.
There's also a government official in Australia that is suing OpenAI because they made a post about, a fake one obviously, about how he had been previously arrested and imprisoned when that is not true. So he's now proceeding legal action against OpenAI.
Is this the Australian mayor?
Yeah, the Australian mayor.
Like a defamation suit against OpenAI. Damn. Filament didn't instill much confidence, frankly refused to say which data exactly Amazon Titan FM family was trained on. Instead, he stressed that the Titan models were built to detect and remove harmful content in the data AWS customers provide for the customization, reject inappropriate content, users' input, and filter output containing hate speech, profanity, and violence, which is obviously very, very important. And we've seen a little bit with the Bing going absolutely wild and actually gaslighting its users, saying some sort of hate speech, and that's not what you want for a company. So obviously a lot of people have that in mind when they're building new systems like this. Personally, I can't wait until we get an AI model that is only racist and only sexist and starts roasting Norwegians.
They do it for the memes, for the gags, or for their own self hatred.
So you can see that we're committed to the responsible use of these technologies, he said. We're monitoring the regulatory landscape out there, and we have a lot of lawyers helping us look at which data we can use and which we can't use.
I asked ChatGPT to make me a nuclear reactor in the backyard. It's not going so well.
One of the last things they launched was CodeWhisperer, Trainium, and Inferentia that launched in GA. On the subject of coinciding with its big generative AI push today, Amazon made CodeWhisperer on its AI-powered code generating service, free of charge to developers without any usage restrictions. So this AI code is basically like GitHub's Copilot. Now, the move suggests that CodeWhisperer hasn't seen the uptake Amazon hoped it would. So you can see that Copilot obviously has millions of users as of January, thousands of which are enterprise customers. And essentially, it's just an autocomplete functions like Java, JavaScript, Python-based code in just a few keystrokes. Now, there's so many apps out there now that can do this for you and help you. You can see here that the function, boom, you just do all of this for you. So they don't really have a differentiating factor why they would jump over to AWS to use this, as most of the people use GitHub to use some of the same features. So he says that developers can become a lot more productive with these tools. It's difficult for developers to be up to date on everything. Tools like this help them not have to worry about it. So you can also see that they've done the Inferentia chips, which were previous last year on Amazon's reInvent conference, and they're designed to speed up AI runtimes, delivering ostensibly better throughput and lower latency for improved overall inference price performance. To me, this is all chips, and I mean, people don't really, or some people care, but many don't. The same with the EC2 TR1N instances powered by AWS Trainium is also a custom chip for AI training, and you can see that it delivers 20% higher performance over TRN1 for large network intensive models. And they're also claiming here, Philomin is saying AWS offers the most effective cloud infrastructure for generative AI. Is that true? Who knows? One of the needs for customers is the right cost for dealing with these models. It's one of the reasons why many customers haven't put these models in production.
That's probably why it's the most effective cloud infrastructure, because AWS is pretty much the cheapest out there. So it would be the best cloud-based infrastructure for anything, not just AI, but yeah, cost-wise.
Exactly.
Cost-wise.
Yep, and they're very popular as well. I think that they're gonna do well in this, and it's good to see that Amazon is actually getting into the AI world, creating their own things, partnering with the right people, and offering services like this to the people. I like that.
I'm just waiting for AI to get a hold of my credit card and start buying stuff that I don't want, but stuff that I need, and then me being upset because they know me.
So did you know that this was part of a full podcast? So if you want to watch the extended video, then click on this link right here or in the description down below, and I'll see you over there. Peace.